Superman's fingerprint is damning evidence for sure.
The Justice League cannot be trusted.
Dios mío.
We're being framed. Someone's trying to screw with us, and they're going to be damn sorry.
We could get a lawyer.
When Justice League Gods and Monsters was released in 2015, it presented one of the boldest and most unexpected takes on the DC universe ever seen in animation. Unlike the traditional stories where Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman stood as clear symbols of justice and morality, this film offered a darker, more morally complex reimagining of these iconic heroes. Created by Timm and Burnett, the movie stepped away from familiar continuity to craft an alternate reality where the Justice League was feared as much as it was admired. The film didn't just flip character origins. It questioned what happens when power is born in pain, when justice comes from fear, and when gods walk among men with blood on their hands instead of hope in their hearts. This version of Superman was not the son of Jor-El and Laura, but rather the child of General Zod, sent to Earth and raised by migrant farmers. His personality reflected his upbringing and lineage, a man hardened by the injustices of the world, shaped by a lifetime of struggle, and carrying the moral weight of Zod's DNA. Instead of the gentle optimism that defines Clark Kent, this Superman was ruthless when necessary, direct in his sense of justice, and unafraid to kill when he believed it was the only way to protect the innocent. The film used him as a mirror for power unchecked by humanity, asking whether a savior born in darkness can ever truly represent the light. Batman, on the other hand, was no longer Bruce Wayne. In this alternate world, it was Dr. Kirk Langstrom, a scientist who, after failing to cure himself of a deadly disease, became a vampiric creature of the night. Consumed by his thirst for blood, but guided by a scientific mind and a tragic conscience, this version of Batman existed as a literal monster. Yet despite his terrifying appearance and methods, Langstrom's Batman was perhaps the most human of the trio. His pain, loneliness, and moral conflict turned him into a haunting figure of empathy and sorrow. He represented the side of the Justice League that struggled between survival and morality, fighting against both his own instincts and a world that would never accept him. Wonder Woman's story was equally complex and compelling. She was not Diana of the Themyscira, but Becca, a new god and the granddaughter of Highfather. Her origins tied into the cosmic politics of the new gods, and her tragic past was shaped by betrayal and loss. After escaping from the massacre of her wedding, a slaughter orchestrated by the very gods she trusted, Becca came to Earth seeking redemption and purpose. Her strength and determination made her a warrior who believed in justice, but unlike the classic Wonder Woman, her actions were driven by guilt and vengeance rather than peace and compassion. This darker, more stoic version of Wonder Woman carried the weight of war across worlds, yet beneath her armor lay a woman longing for understanding in a universe filled with deceit. The film opened with the Justice League already established as a powerful but controversial force on Earth. Unlike the heroic saviors of traditional DC lore, this league ruled with intimidation and fear. Governments respected them out of necessity rather than admiration, and the public viewed them as unpredictable gods. Their interventions in global conflicts often left devastation in their wake, forcing humanity to question whether the world was safer with them or without them. The story's brilliance lay in how it balanced this uneasy relationship between gods and mortals, showing that even the most powerful beings could be victims of misunderstanding and mistrust. Things took a dramatic turn when a series of mysterious murders began targeting prominent scientists, all of whom had connections to a secret government project. The killings appeared to have been carried out by the Justice League, sparking outrage and panic across the world. The government, led by Amanda Waller, quickly moved to confront them, believing the League had turned against humanity. But as the investigation unfolded, it became clear that something far more sinister was at play, a plot that reached deep into the core of this alternate world's history. The film's pacing was sharp and relentless, drawing the audience into a mystery that blurred the line between hero and villain. Each member of the League faced their own demons as they tried to uncover the truth behind the murders. Superman wrestled with the legacy of Zod and the world's fear of his power. Batman struggled with his own monstrous nature and his love for a lost companion, while Wonder Woman confronted the ghosts of her past and the lies that had shaped her destiny. Their personal journeys intertwined with the central mystery, creating a story that was as emotional as it was thrilling. Visually, Justice League, Gods and Monsters was striking and atmospheric. The animation style carried Timm's signature sharp angles and strong character designs, but infused them with a darker tone and cinematic intensity. The world felt more grounded, yet alien futuristic cities bathed in shadow, battlefields scorched with energy, and quiet moments filled with haunting beauty. Every frame reflected the film's central idea that even gods can be broken, and monsters can still seek redemption. The action sequences were brutal and kinetic, showing a level of raw power and emotional tension rarely seen in DC's animated films at the time. One of the film's greatest strengths was how it handled morality. Rather than painting its characters in black and white, it thrived in the gray areas of justice. It dared to ask whether killing in the name of peace can ever be justified, whether fear can truly maintain order, and whether the world deserves heroes who are as flawed as the people they protect. The Justice League of this universe operated outside traditional ethics, making their victories bittersweet and their failures haunting. In this way, the movie stood apart from other superhero stories by focusing less on spectacle and more on the consequences of absolute power. The soundtrack matched this tone perfectly. Its orchestral score shifted from heavy, ominous beats to soft, melancholic melodies, amplifying the emotional depth of the story. Each hero had their own musical identity. Superman's theme carried tragic nobility, Batman's evoked isolation and hunger, while Wonder Woman's blended power with heartbreak. Together, the music underscored the film's central message that divinity and humanity are two sides of the same fragile coin. As the mystery unfolded, the true culprit behind the scientist murders was revealed to be Lex Luthor's former Prot-GS individuals, who sought to reshape the world using stolen technology from the League's past. Their actions reflected the dangers of human ambition and the thin line between creation and destruction. In the final act, the League was forced to confront not only these enemies, but also their own inner darkness. Each member had to decide what kind of god they wanted to be, one who ruled through fear or one who fought for hope. The climactic battle brought all the themes together in a visually explosive and emotionally charged finale. Superman faced his own limitations and acknowledged that power without empathy leads to isolation. Batman overcame his monstrous instincts to act with compassion, showing that even a creature of the night could be a symbol of sacrifice. Wonder Woman stood as a bridge between worlds, realizing that her strength came not from vengeance, but from understanding. Together, they restored balance not by dominating humanity, but by choosing to protect it on its own terms. Justice League, Gods and Monsters ended not with a sense of triumph, but with reflection. The world remained divided in its opinion of the League. Some saw them as saviors, others as threats. Yet, for the first time, these gods among men began to understand the value of humility and the meaning of humanity. The final moments suggested hope, not a shining, perfect hope like in traditional superhero tales, but a quiet, hard-earned one, born from pain and acceptance. The movie's impact extended beyond its runtime. It inspired discussions about morality, identity, and what it truly means to be a hero. By turning familiar characters inside out, it invited audiences to question their own definitions of justice and good versus evil. Superman was no longer a symbol of perfection, Batman no longer an unshakable detective, and Wonder Woman no longer a flawless warrior. Instead, they were beings shaped by loss, flawed by nature, and redeemed by choice. That humanity within divinity is what made the film resonate long after the credits rolled. Justice League, Gods and Monsters was more than just an animated movie. It was a thought experiment about power and consequence. It showed that even in alternate realities, the struggles of heroes remain the same. The search for purpose, the burden of responsibility, and the eternal battle between control and compassion. The film's world was filled with darkness, but through it shone a glimmer of something deeply human, the belief that redemption is possible, even for gods and monsters alike. In the years that followed, the movie gained a strong following among fans who appreciated its mature storytelling and willingness to take risks. It stood as proof that superhero animation could explore themes of philosophy, morality, and emotion without losing its edge. Every scene served as a reminder that the power to change the world begins with the courage to face the truth about oneself. Justice League, Gods and Monsters remains a haunting and beautiful testament to the idea that even the most broken heroes can rise again, not because they are perfect, but because they choose to keep fighting in spite of their flaws. This film remains one of the most daring entries in the DC animated universe, a bold reimagining that asked uncomfortable questions and delivered unforgettable answers. It proved that behind every myth lies a tragedy, behind every god lies a wound, and behind every monster lies a heart still capable of compassion. That is what made Justice League, Gods and Monsters not just a story about superheroes, but a story about what it means to be human in a world that demands gods.